Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. J9, welcome in. Orpheus, Lord Merman, Benny, Mauricio, Gustavo, welcome in. All right, I have not done any charting this morning, so we're going to have a really raw session, just going through and building out the watch list together. It should be pretty straightforward given where everything closed at on Friday, but like I said, I haven't looked at anything, so I don't know if things are still holding up the move that they made. So we'll start with SPY. We'll just go 5-minute time frame here. Basically, all that I'm looking for is new all-time highs, continuation type of trade idea, which would be a break of 646.5. But we've got a pre-market pullback on the gap down, so maybe we could go long a little earlier than that, though it feels somewhat risky because the profit margin is pretty limited. That's pretty tight right there. I think the safest thing to do is just say, hey, we want to see a true break of the all-time highs. So the safest thing to do here for SPY is just to wait on new all-time highs. And this is what I put out in my Sunday analysis. Hopefully you had the time to watch one of those videos that I posted. Short level, and this is where it gets confusing. If I'm looking back, there's support around 642, and then below that, there's support at 641, and then 640. And I mean, pretty much every dollar mark on the way down has some point of support. Where SPY's currently at doesn't seem like it matches up too well over there to the left. So possibly short idea under 642, but are we going to are we trying to be aggressive with the short level today? Because that feels pretty aggressive to me. Or do we want to be a little more lenient with this? Maybe move it down $1. I'm thinking maybe leave it at 641. That's far enough away from the current trade price, so that gives us a good solid cushion to either level, to either side, for this to open and flex so that we're not getting confused on direction. So we'll say 641. I mean, naturally, we're looking for the continuation, right? So the short level, we don't want to give too much thought to it. But that Friday move up, we do not want to see that retrace if this is to continue. So if this pulls back more than half of this move up under 641, it would mean or feel like to me, rather, that we're not getting a continuation and that we are getting a sell-off from Friday's move up. One sec. Sorry about that. Okay, next on my list was Tesla. So we're looking for the follow-through top side on Tesla. One sec. I don't want to be coughing in the mic here. Looking for the follow-through top side on Tesla, which would just mean a break of the previous closing price, which is at $340. Does that make sense to go long there? Yeah, I think so. I mean, it would be a continuation from yesterday's high of day, or prior day's high of day. It would give us a break of the previous day's closing price. The only concern here is our profit margin from 340 to 344. That's a valid concern there for us. So that begs the question, do we want to be more lenient with this? I don't know that we do, though. I don't know that we do, because the daily time frame has this larger structure for Tesla, which originally looked like this. Looks like it already broke out, right? And then just pulled back and retested there and then rallied back up. So we got kind of a lot going on here. 350 is going to be your magnetic level for Tesla. I don't feel like it's out of play for Tesla to get there today. I think it's pretty possible, which gives us plenty of profit margin. So the debate here is long on Tesla at 340 or 345 or 344. I think we go aggressive on this one just because the previous day's close, previous day's high of day is all in the same area. So we're going to say Tesla long over 340, just watching for a continuation following Friday's move up off of the 50 EMA on the daily. All right, short level. We don't have to set one. We could. I mean, instantly my eye is drawn there at 334, but I feel like that's probably too close for Tesla. So maybe under 332 makes more sense here. And I'm just pulling that off of Friday's price action. Looking back further, I mean, it's pretty messy. It's messy down here, right? So it's really hard to determine what a short level would be. I'd say 332. Again, like SPY, I'm not really looking to take Tesla short, but I'm not opposed to it. If we see a sell-off in the market, I do want to have something to trade. Friday's move up was pretty good for if you were here and traded it, but also a little ridiculous. Things naturally want to pull back after a move like that. And a lot of times after meetings like that with FOMC or Jay Powell talking, you will see initial moves to one direction, to one side, that then reverse the following day. I'm not saying that that's what is going to happen today, but it could. And I want to make sure that I'm prepared with my analysis if that is the case. Okay, next we had Meta. So Meta, we wanted to see Meta basically outside of this box. Meta pushed up to reclaim the 750 hold number, but it is just barely holding on right now to that level. The only thing that makes sense here on Meta is along above 756. That is the only thing that makes sense to me here. Look, or 757, 756, somewhere there. 756 is fine because it's the majority of the resistance, majority of the price action is treating 756 as the resistance. You'd have a break of the downtrend trend line and then a red to green move on the reclaim of that. So Meta over 756. Long over 756. And we're going to say bullish on this name if it can hold over the 750 hold number. And we'll be looking to take a trade if this can break Friday's high. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. What was our last one here? We only had 4. Google. That's right. Google, all-time high trade idea. Yeah, this is probably the top pick of the day. This is probably going to be it. Where do we go long on it, though, is the big question, because the easiest point is 208.5, but with the pullback, it's pretty far off from that price point, so it begs the question, do we go aggressive on this, long at 207, under the hope that it gives us enough profit margin from 207 to 208 plus? So it's risky, right? We could go long there early. Profit margin is it's a little over 0.5%, 0.75%. It's not enough. It's not enough. I feel like the only way that this trade works for us is if we go long on this early and this runs through those all-time highs. Then all of a sudden we're fine. Right? Then this trade looks really good, and we look amazing because we took the entry way down here, and we could be like, "Yep, told you so. It was going to go." The safest way to approach this would be long at 208.5, but then the problem is the stock's basically got to run 1.2% to a known point of resistance before we even take an entry. That's not going to work for us. And then it needs to continue to run beyond that for us to profit. Could it happen? Yes. Is it likely to happen? Probably not. So I think 207. I think that, if we're going to send it and be aggressive, I think we be as aggressive as we possibly can. That way we maximize the amount of profit margin from here to there. And then we'll try to squeeze out of this trade what we can if we wind up taking this trade. So we'll say Google over 207. I don't think I'm going to set a short level here. Yeah, probably not. I mean, short at 205 wouldn't be too bad, but I'm looking there at 205, possibly. Short at 205, short at 204. 204 wouldn't be that bad either. It's kind of messy, though. I think we leave it off. I think we just look for new run to the all-time highs, and so that's what we'll say in our notes here. Only watching for a possible run towards the all-time highs, and hopefully new all-time highs. And then we'll remove the short level here. We'll go back to Meta. I don't think we... Yeah, I don't want to set... I didn't talk about it, but I don't want to set a short level on Meta just because I really don't care to trade within that chop zone. So the only way that I like Meta short is into the gap below, and it's nowhere near that gap right now. So we're going to leave it alone. So no short level there. All right, let's roll through our list and see if there's anything that's looking pretty nice for us. UNH becomes a trade idea if it gets back to 316, which I think it will. It's just taken, UNH has taken a couple of days here following the gap up to pull back and hold the gap for one, which looks extremely bullish to me, to hold above 300 too, which looks extremely bullish to me, and then break the downtrend trend line. So, at this point, the only thing that we wait for is going to be a higher high out of UNH, and this will go from 316 to 340 pretty quick. It will happen quick, possibly even in a couple of days. But there's nothing. Let me look again, but I don't think that there's anything here for us today on UNH. Yeah, probably not. So just keep your alerts set at 316. We'll come back to, if it runs today, we'll come back to that one tomorrow. INTC has been kind of sloppy. It's been tough to read. I know that they got that government investment, but yeah, it's not the cleanest moving stock, so I don't think I want to put it on the watch list. Now, this is a pretty good breakout right here on Disney, and I did not post this chart yesterday, but I do like this. I like the pennant here that broke out. I know that it's just moving in, with everything else in the market right now, but this is not a bad, the pullback here skews it. This is not a bad setup to watch for a possible continuation. So we'll say Disney over 120. We add this to the list. We're probably going to see a lot of the similar price action just because of how Friday went. Yeah, Alibaba's gapped up. So I do want to throttle back on including, I don't want to include too much on the list that all looks pretty much the same. If I find a different looking setup, I'll include it. I mean, like something like Amazon, right? Like, could we take this trade idea for a continuation over 229? Yeah, we could. But do we also have, a ton of names on the list already that look like this? Also, yes. So is it worth it to put it on the list? I don't know. I mean, I feel like there's probably other things to trade that might give us some sort of variation. So what we'll do is just add Amazon as a placeholder. I mean, everything's just a continuation at this point, right? So we'll add Amazon as a placeholder, and if we find something that looks a little better or a little different, that gives us some sort of different opportunity, we'll probably put that in place of Amazon. top pick of the day as of right now is going to remain Google. I really like that setup. I think it's just a bit different than everything else, with it being at the all-time highs and the path that it's taken recently to get there. So Google remains my top pick of the day. Hopefully we get some pretty clean price action on that and some nice volume to send that up to and through that all-time high. I'm actually not seeing, as of right now, I'm not seeing anything that looks better than Amazon's our placeholder. So we'll leave. I think we might leave it. I think we'll probably leave it on the list. And I'm just going through these really quick. All that I'm looking at is essentially the pre-market price action when I'm doing that. So I don't need to look back at the previous price action or anything like that. All that I'm looking for is, okay, is something gapped down like crazy or something gapped up like crazy? Something like Alibaba, right? Something that doesn't show, when I look at the daily, the chart won't show me that because this is a after hour session, or pre-market session rather. All right, so that's our list. Let's review and make sure that we like everything here. Pretty simple and straightforward. And that's the way that I felt when I did my analysis yesterday too. So we got SPY, 646.5. We're looking for a true new all-time high, and then short below 641. I feel like those are pretty good levels. It's giving SPY enough room to both sides to flex, and also enough room to both sides to where if we get a break of those levels, we should have confirmation. Tesla above 340 and short below 332. The 340 long level, I am somewhat concerned about, but the fact that that's the previous day's closing price doesn't have me as worried. So we've got a couple of confirmations happening on Tesla the moment that it breaks 340. Okay, so Meta, next one on the list, looking for the break of 756, easy, right? Google, next one on the list, looking for the break of 207, easy. Disney, next on the list, kind of a Hail Mary type of trade idea. I don't know that. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. I don't know that Disney is a big mover usually. I mean, you see the average true range, it's pretty tight. So this outside day on Disney was quite an exceptional day for the name. So, I don't know, unless we get that same kind of market sentiment, I don't think that we get a continuation out of Disney, but we'll see. So just go ahead and set alerts up there at 120. And then Amazon is another last or late addition. Added this one to the list with the bounce of the 50 EMA. I mean, mainly just because this name was so strong, to be quite honest. That's almost the only thing that I'm going off of. But it did hold up above the 50 EMA here. It did bounce. I know that it's following suit with the overall market on Friday, but it does feel like one of the stronger moves from Friday. So watching for a red to green move on the reclaim of the PDC and the break of the previous day's high of day for a higher high continuation. It doesn't feel that bad to me. So we like Amazon above 229. Cool. We're done early. We are done early. So we will be trading live today, by the way. I'm not running a higher Spartan class this week, so I'm hoping to get some more of these pre-market reviews done with you this week. Next Monday, market's closed. So just keep that in mind. It shouldn't really affect us too much this week, maybe at the end of the week. Because people like to, if people have Monday off, as traders, if you have Monday off, you usually want to take Friday off too and just make it a true long weekend. So that might affect us this week if you're trading Friday, but I don't see how it could affect us early part of the week. So certainly next week it'll affect us, right, with the long weekend and lots of news coming out. Okay, so live trading will not be happening here. If you're new, it won't be happening here on YouTube because there's a delay. So we will hold the live trading in the Discord server. Let me post this day trade watch list and then I'll show you how to navigate to it. Okay, so the watch list has been posted. Live trading, here's how you're going to get there. Scroll down to the bottom left-hand side of the Discord server. You're going to see a channel called The Arena. You see people already joined in here. That is where we will conduct the live trading. So I'll see you there. Oh, I don't know, probably Probably about 20 or 30 minutes. I mean, we're done pretty early here. So I'll see you there in about 20 or 30 minutes. Cool. All right. Hope the analysis helped this morning. Google's going to be the top pick of the day, but of course we're going to trade what moves and ignore what doesn't. So if Tesla moves and Google doesn't, then Tesla becomes the top pick of the day, right? Naturally. Okay. Good luck. Go make some money, and we'll see you over in the Discord server.